You paid them this morning. You don't know that. But somewhere between your rent, your groceries, your electricity bill, a percentage moved through a company you've never heard of into an account that doesn't exist on paper toward a family in the hills of Calabria that has been running this system for over 100 years. The Ndrangheta, $60 billion a year, more than the GDP of Croatia, more than the Sinaloa cartel, more than the Sicilian Mafia and the Camorra combined. They control 80% of Europe's cocaine supply. They operate in 84 countries. They own construction companies, solar farms, supermarkets, waste disposal contracts, and they have been doing it invisibly since before your grandparents were born. You have never heard their name. That is not a coincidence. That is the product. Today, we rank every level of their hierarchy. 8 ranks. From the child who is born into the system before he can consent to the man elected every September in the mountains of Calabria. This is how $60 billion actually moves. Rank 1, Giovane d'Onore, before you can choose. You are not recruited. You are born. Your father is a member of an Ndrangheta, one of the family clans that form the base unit of the Ndrangheta. The moment you arrive, you are entered into the organizational record as a Giovane d'Onore, youth of honor. You have not done anything. You have not sworn anything. You are 3 days old. Growing up in Calabria, the unemployment rate around you is nearly 20%. The average monthly wage for the men on your street is 1,200 euros. Your father drives a car that doesn't match his declared income. The house is larger than it should be. There are men who come and speak quietly in the kitchen and leave without staying for dinner. You learn early that certain questions are not asked. You learn that the men your father respects are men who have never once spoken to police. You learn omerta, the code of silence, the way other children learn table manners. It is simply how things are done. No earnings, no obligations yet. Just the slow absorption of a world in which the family is everything. The hierarchy is sacred, and your place in it was decided before you could walk. Rank 2, Picciotto d'Onore, the blood baptism. The initiation ceremony of the Ndrangheta is called a baptism. It has been performed the same way for over 100 years. The men stand in a horseshoe. You are at the open end. Behind you stands your guarantor, a senior member who has vouched for your loyalty with his own life. The Capo reads the codes, the penalties, the obligations, the penalty for speaking to police, the penalty for betrayal. Every penalty is the same word, death. Then a knife, one cut to your finger, one drop of blood onto the image of Saint Michael the Archangel, the patron saint of the Ndrangheta. The card is held to flame. It burns while you recite the oath. In 2014, Italian Carabinieri filmed this ceremony for the first time in history. Hidden cameras in a farmhouse in Lombardy. One of the initiates was 17 years old. The ritual was identical to descriptions from the 1880s. You are now a Picciotto d'Onore, the first made rank, and your job is specific. You patrol 6 blocks. You report unusual activity within 15 minutes. You carry a weapon at all times. You do not write anything down. You do not use your real name on a phone. You do not ask what happens to the information you pass upward. You earn $2,500 to $4,000 a month, drawn from the locale's common fund, the Basile. In southern Calabria, that is nearly 3 times the legal average wage. There is no contract. There is no exit clause. The ceremony you just completed is the only paperwork that exists, and it burned in your hand. Rank 3, Camorrista. First command, another ceremony, another oath, one more burning card. You have heard the words before. Now you have men beneath you. The Camorrista commands his own group of Picciotti. Their performance is his responsibility. Their arrests are his problem. His job shifts from execution to management, assigning tasks, collecting extortion payments, resolving street-level disputes before they become noise that attracts investigators. The Ndrangheta's operational discipline at this level is what separates them from every other criminal organization. No shooting in public, no visible displays of wealth, no social media. When a boss in 2013 complained that having a cell phone was like carrying a policeman in your pocket, he was not making a joke. He was issuing a policy. Your monthly share doubles, $4,000 to $8,000, depending on what your unit produces. You run collections for the locale across a territory that might be 3 neighborhoods in Reggio Calabria or an entire suburb of Frankfurt. The businesses you visit, restaurants, construction suppliers, agricultural wholesalers, pay a percentage every month, without exception. In 2023, Italian Carabinieri arrested over 130 Ndrangheta members across 10 countries in a single coordinated operation, having spent 4 years inside their encrypted communications. Sky ECC, EncroChat, dozens of Camorristi among the arrested. The paranoia at this rank is not a personality trait, it is a survival requirement. Rank 4, Santista, the floor that didn't exist. Here is what the Italian government did not know until 2010. They had been investigating the Ndrangheta for decades. They had informants. They had wiretaps. They had built a detailed picture of the organization. 2 levels, Società Minore at the bottom, Società Maggiore above it. Soldiers and bosses. They thought they understood the structure. Operation Crimine Infinito. July 2010, 305 arrests across Italy and Germany, and inside the evidence. A 3rd level, hidden above the Società Maggiore, unknown to everyone beneath it. La Santa, the Holy Society. The Santista is the entry point, and the reason La Santa was created in the 1970s was to do something the old Ndrangheta code explicitly forbade: make contact with the state, politicians, judges, police commissioners, Freemasons. The organization needed people who could move in those worlds without being seen as criminals. La Santa was built for exactly that. A Picciotto below you does not know you are Santista. He knows you as his capo. He does not know which tier you belong to. This is not structural sloppiness. It is the system's most important security feature. If he is arrested, he cannot give up what he does not know. Your money at this level no longer comes primarily from street collections. It comes from contracts. A construction company that wins public tenders it should not win. An agricultural subsidy for a farm that exists only on paper. Your job is to be invisible in the legitimate economy while extracting from it continuously. Rank 5, Vangelista, the gospel. The name comes from Vangelo, gospel. You know why. To reach this rank, you place your hand on the Bible and swear that everything you are, your family, your assets, your future, is subordinate to the organization, not on a saint's card, on the Bible itself. The ceremony captured by Italian police in 2014 made explicit what happens if you fail after this oath. You are expected to choose poison or bullet. The organization does not come for you. You are expected to handle it yourself. This is considered an act of dignity. The Vangelista is the Ndrangheta's intelligence function at the local level. He knows which judge in the province is compromised, which municipal official controls contract approvals, which police commander's son needs a job. He maintains these relationships with patience measured in years, not months. In 2023, Eurojust documented a Ndrangheta network that had redirected at least 3 million euros from European Union agricultural subsidies. The Vangelisti arranged those payments. The farmers who received them did not exist. His earnings are a percentage of everything the locale runs: drug margin, contract skimming, subsidy fraud, loan sharking interest. The number exceeds $100,000 in an active locale. It exceeds that significantly in a major one. You own a restaurant in Dusseldorf. You have never been to Dusseldorf. It turns over more revenue than its seating capacity could produce in 5 years. Rank 6, Quintino, Padrino, the 5. There are exactly 5 of them in every clan. The Quintino, also called the Padrino, the Godfather, is one of 5 privileged members who report directly to the Capobastone. No intermediaries, no chain of command, directly. The 5-pointed star is encoded in the organization's symbolism, historically worn as a gold pendant by senior members. 5 points, 5 men. The 5 people in any clan who know everything. One of the 5 is the designated successor. If the Capobastone is arrested tonight, which happens, this man is already the boss by morning. No election, no meeting. The decision was made years ago. One of the 5 is the Vangelista, the briefcase. He controls the locale's finances entirely. Every euro of drug margin, every construction kickback, every extortion payment, every investment return. He knows what the locale earns, what it owes, and what it is owed. He is, functionally, the CFO of a mid-sized criminal enterprise with revenues in the tens of millions. The Quintino does not work streets. He works boardrooms, or their equivalent. He sits on the boards of construction companies, waste management firms, renewable energy developers. The Ndrangheta's penetration of Europe's green energy sector is documented by Europol. Solar installations in Calabria, built with cocaine money. Wind contracts in Germany, owned through 6 layers of shell companies. Recycling facilities in Belgium, processing both waste and cash. The money is clean by the time it reaches his accounts. That is the entire architecture. Rank 7. Capobastone, the shepherd's staff. Baston, a shepherd's staff. The curved stick used in Calabria to round up animals. The name is not a metaphor. It is a job description. The Capobastone is the absolute ruler of his locale. One town, one neighborhood, one suburb of Toronto, or Melbourne or Frankfurt. The geography is irrelevant. The structure is always identical. Europol has formally documented the Ndrangheta's capacity to produce what they call perfect operational copies of itself in every city it enters. Same hierarchy, same ceremonies, same codes. A locale in Sydney runs under the same rules as a locale in Reggio Calabria. Each locale requires a minimum of 49 members before the Crimine formally recognizes it. Below that threshold, it remains a Indrina, a family cell, without a seat at the table. The Capobastone of a recognized locale calls meetings, decides promotions, resolves conflicts with finality, and controls the Vangelista, the briefcase holding the locale's full financial position. His earnings are a percentage of everything: drug trafficking margin, construction contract overruns, EU subsidy fraud, extortion revenue, loan sharking interest, waste disposal contracts. In a major Calabrian locale, this runs into the millions annually. In international locali, Toronto, Sydney, Frankfurt, the money is buried so deep in legitimate business structures that investigators spend years simply mapping the ownership layers. He has been inside this system since he was born. He has never held a job that appears on a tax return. Rank 8. Capo Crimine, the annual king. Every September, in the mountains of Aspromonte, at the sanctuary of Our Lady of Polsi in the village of San Luca, the bosses gather. Publicly, they are pilgrims attending a religious festival. There are families, there are prayers, there are processions. Privately, they are a parliament. Disputes are resolved, territories confirmed, accounts rendered. Each Capobastone is expected to report on his year, every significant operation, every homicide, every arrest in his territory, and they elect a Capo Crimine. In 2010, when Operation Crimine Infinito arrested 305 members and exposed the full structure to Italian investigators for the first time, they identified the sitting Capo Crimine, Domenico Opedisano, 80 years old, a retired farmer from Rosarno. He had never been arrested. He had lived 8 decades in total invisibility. Here is the paradox at the top of this hierarchy. The Capo Crimine is not all-powerful. He cannot order a clan to stop a feud. He cannot override a Capobastone's decision inside his own territory. He cannot strip a locale of standing without consensus from the other bosses. Investigators have described him not as a boss of bosses in the Al Capone sense, but as something closer to a Supreme Court justice, a figure of ultimate authority, whose authority is simultaneously bounded by the structure that created him. The position is temporary by design. A new Capo Crimine is elected at each annual gathering. This is not a sign of weakness. It is the system's most important defense. No single person can accumulate enough personal power to become a liability. The Ndrangheta's strength has never been its apex. It has always been the structure below. The family-based, blood-bound, impossible-to-decapitate network of locali that continues operating regardless of who sits at the top. They arrested Domenico Opedisano, 80 years old, taken from his home. The organization did not pause for a single day. The total, 8 ranks. Let's run the audit. $60 billion a year flowing through it. Interpol confirms presence in 84 countries as of 2025. The Italian parliament estimates 80% of Europe's cocaine supply runs through Ndrangheta logistics. In November 2023, over 200 members were convicted in the largest Mafia trial in 30 years. The organization did not issue a statement. Since the 1880s, fewer than 200 members have ever become informants. In 150 years, the Omerta is not enforced only by fear. It is enforced by the fact that every person inside the system has a family member also inside the system. You cannot betray without destroying your own bloodline. You paid them this morning, you will pay them tomorrow, and you still don't know their name. Subscribe.